What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's Tuesday, and we're getting tactical. We got some friggin' Arks of Omen to talk about. LVO's done. The Nephilim season has been capstoned, and we got what's that word? Results. That's a good word from events for Arks of Omen, which is super sick. Woo! Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming and hanging out. Hope everyone had a good weekend. Hope everybody got some good games in. If anybody's at LVO, I hope you had fun. I have been told, we were having a discussion on stream yesterday. It was probably the smoothest LVO that we've had in recent memory, which is awesome. Yes. So I'm a couple minutes late here, chat, because I was working through the giveaway drawing. I did it off stream, so I'm not going to do it live because I'm not sure there's a good way to do that without doxing everyone. So, but I will announce the people who won. I have them here in a document, which is very exciting. So thanks everyone for jumping on the giveaway, by the way. For those who didn't see, we gave away a bunch of stuff for hitting 40,000 subscribers. We gave away a kill team, or we got a kill team box, Black Templars army set, a bunch of orcs, an orc army new in box, basically. It's probably 1,000 points, I bet. As well as a Breach Storm starter set and a bunch of objective sets. So like a bunch of money worth of models and stuff. So that's exciting. So we can get started with that, and then we're going to talk about some Arks of Omen events. And then that's what's going on. In addition, if you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to be streaming Captain Con this weekend. So if you're live, if you come hang out on the channel, basically for the next month or so, we're going to have a lot of commentary and stuff happening. Captain Con starts, or the GT starts Saturday and Sunday. It's a 64-player GT that I'm going to be streaming one game of every round. And that is going to be sweet. So come hang out and chill with me, and we'll commentate some friggin' Arks of Omen 40k. They're doing like full Arks of Omen. All the rules are out. Imperial Guard are good to go. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So I'm super psyched about that. I'm also going to be there all weekend. I'm going to be running Breach Storm events on the Friday and then doing the streaming on Saturday, Sunday. If you want to come hang out with me, you should come chill at Captain Con. So I'm excited for that. Then immediately after that, we are going to have the Season 6, T5S2 Invitational. That is nominally starts on the 6th. It basically depends on when the players schedule their games to be played. And I am going to stream as many of them as I possibly can, both to Twitch and YouTube. We're going to multi-stream again to both, so we get maximum people in there. If you want to come hang out and get all of the cool Twitch emotes and stuff, should go hang out on Twitch. But also, we'll be here too if you just want to chill and give YouTube some love. So that's going to be awesome. The list cutoff was yesterday. I'm going to be going through the list this week, and they're going to be posted up later on this week. And I'll do next Tactical Tuesday. I think we'll do a list review for all the top 16 lists out of the Invitational. So that's going to be sweet. All right. Real quick giveaway announcement for everyone. We'll go down the list. We'll start with the objective markers. Kyle Haywood, Jeffrey Whitehead, and Daniel Seward all won objective marker sets. So you will be contacted. Everyone who wins will be contacted on either email or PM if I have you on there. And I will get your info to ship your stuff to you. The Orc Army set, Guillaume Breton won that one. Guillaume, congratulations. You have some orcs now. The Black Templar set was won by Garrett Turner. The Kill Team set is going to Brynjar, both from the Discord, so that's exciting. Congratulations, Brynjar. And the Breach Storm starter set goes to Dominika Gruzecka. Gruzecka? We'll go with that. That one sounds good. Those are the winners of the giveaway. We did it! Yay! Whoa! Congratulations to everybody. Captain Con sounds fun, but it's outside your neighborhood. I'm sorry. It will be fun. Captain Con's, I mean, it's my favorite event of the year, I think. And part of it's because it's like a lot of, it's local to me. So not only is there not a lot of travel, but also, I recognize basically everyone there. But also, like, the vibe is, like, real low key. They have, not enough events do this anymore, but they have, they call it the Captain's Log, but it is a system by which you get, like, tickets for participating in events, playing casual games, and visiting vendors, and you can redeem the tickets for prizes. So it's basically Chuck E. Cheese, but for miniature gaming, which is cool as hell. And so it's just super fun. Like, you're incentivized to just play a ton of games and participate in everything and just, like, reach out to everyone. So it's, like, it's so good at, like, meeting new people and making friends. The vibe is really chill because everyone's just, like, trying to jam games. It doesn't really matter, like, who wins for the most part. Yeah, last year the GT was a breeze. It was super fun. They put a ton of tables and terrain together, but both them and the folks over at Webway Games, who have streamed events at as well, do a ton of work for that event. So, yeah, I'm friggin' super psyched. Even if you're not in the GT, I think registration may have closed this week for the GT. You can, if there's space left, you can probably squeak in, but even if you just come and play casually and just hang out, highly recommend. There's also, like, a huge board game room. They have an enormous board game library. I think there's retro video gaming, at least there has been in the past. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. So I'm going to stop shilling for Captain Con. They didn't sponsor this video, so they're getting this one for free. But I'm just mostly getting hype up for the event. You can see in the background, I have a bunch of Breachstorm boxes stacked up back there. That's because I was doing some preparation for the event. So, yeah, I don't know. It's going to be awesome. I'm super psyched. Anyway, chat, let's talk about friggin' Arks of Omen, everybody. We got a ton of events rolling in this weekend, a bunch of big ones, especially over in Europe and the UK. Obviously, most of the US events in this weekend are canceled because everyone's going to the LVO if they're playing competitively. But we have a ton of events over in Europe. We got we can even, if we have time, we can dive into some smaller events too, and just, like, really just subsume ourselves in perforate our beings with Arks of Omen 40k technology. Let's go. All right, let's start. We'll start at the bottom, I guess, over here. What are we looking at? So, yeah, 27th was this weekend. So 28th, Winter War 2.0. This is a smaller event. We got Liam Vissel, friend of the channel. He's been on a bunch of times before. And Guillaume Dusossois. I'm going with that. Tied for the finals, I believe, which is kind of cool. So they both got posted. Liam playing some Thousand Suns, but this is classic Thousand Suns. We're not playing Mech Tzeentch anymore. Now that Flamers got nerfed, they're garbage, unplayable garbage. Get them out of the meta. No more Flamers anymore, except for all the demons lists that are playing Flamers. So I guess you might as well just take Warp Flamer Rubric Marines if you're in Thousand Suns anyway. So I guess that's just what's happening. And as we can see, there are 15 or 12 Warp Flamers plus all these guys. Oh yeah, no, 15 Warp Flamers. Let's go. Seems good. Yeah, so this one, Ahriman and the Infernal Master, Umberlific Crystal and the Infernal Master, to teleport these Scarab Occult Terminators around. It is Cult of Duplicity as well. So you have Sorcerer's Facade on everybody. 6 units of Rubric Marines. Easy peasy. So we have troops as our compulsory slot. This is, I guess, oh no, it's actually Fast Attack is the compulsory slot. We've actually used every troops option, troops entry available to us. Which is kind of cute. That's adorable. It looks like a battalion detachment, but it gets those Zangor Enlightened in there, who are, I'm sure, super useful for secondaries. You can score behind enemy lines with them, especially if you're moving the rubrics really aggressively with Temporal Surge. You can get the max behind enemy lines really easy, or excuse me, engage null fronts really easily, and then you can also get behind enemy lines. So that's super sweet. The exclamation point lists chat, you should see the website, and then also there's a link down in the description of the video. So yeah, just a ton of Rubric Marines. Mix of Infernal Bolt Guns and Warp Flamer teams. And then the 2 Scarab Occult Terminator bricks. One is down 2 Scarab Occult Terminators. And I've been saying this a lot, actually. People have been, I think, just shaving Scarab Occult Terminators off because you can kind of like play aggressively with one unit. It's basically as hard to... An 8er is basically as hard to kill as a 10. And then once they kill that, there's like no way they kill the 10 model unit if you've traded successfully with it. So you don't really need the 20 full like Scarab Cult Terminators, but just getting additional things like Chaos Spawn and the Enlightened in there just to get secondaries and to act as utility units is more important. And then a Chaos Rhino. That's cute. You get to put a bunch of Rubric Marines in it, and then you don't really care whether... They don't, there's no command phase buffs for them, really. There's not even an Egligan's Orrery in this list. So you don't care that they can't be affected in the command phase. And so then they just disembark, and they do everything normally. They can disembark and advance and then Temporal Surge. So you get the 3-inch disembark, so that's 9, plus a potential advance if you don't want to... Or maybe if you just have Warflamers, plus a double move. So they move like 20 inches off your deployment line. So they could just like dig real deep into the middle of the table if they need to. Which is sweet. Love that. Thousand Suns looking pretty okay. Dark Angels is the sleeper, I think. I mean, a lot of people called it for sure. Iron Hands is the obvious, like, super duper strong pick for Space Marines out of Arks of Omen. But Dark Angels is the other one that's actually been putting up huge results right now. So if you're not prepared for Dark Angels, watch out for it. This one's mixed. So now that you don't have sub-faction specific secondary objectives for Dark Angels, the incentive to play pure Deathwing or pure Ravenwing, excuse me, is you're significantly less incentivized to play the pure lists. I believe that you just lose objective secured on your on the regular bike squads who are not even bringing and the Terminators, but because we have right support on the Ravenwing Apothecary, that's not actually that big a deal. I am going to double check myself there though, chat. So honestly, it's kind of all flavors of Dark Angels. I think that Ravenwing are pulling ahead a little bit, but this mixed style of list is also incredibly flexible. So you have this one has 2 Talon Masters and Samael, so just bringing all of the bike or the fast guys. It just backs up 2 Terminator squads, 33 points a model, so 310 points. For Thunderhammers, Storm Shields, and Cyclone Missile Launchers is absolutely a steal. And then they have the Ravenwing Apothecary to buff them with the right support. And then, interestingly, that means he's not a selfless healer, so you have to pay the CP to get Deathwing Terminators back, which is a downside. And that is, yeah, the downside of taking the 2 Talon Masters, I guess. But then the Land Speeders and the fast stuff is also really strong. This has 5 Plasma Inceptors. So I think these guys went to 60 points, right? So this is out of date. But I imagine that the rules cutoff happened before the Inceptor like rule reversal, where they went up 10 points. Did they go up 10 points or 20 points? They went up 20 points, right? Because it's 10 points per gun, and they have 2. All right, we're gonna look at all the rules that I'm misquoting here. So yeah, you lose. So I believe that you lose the OBSEC on the little guys. This codex might be the most confusingly worded codex I've ever read. Yeah, so Inner Circle and Jink, which are the like Ravenwing and Deathwing abilities, are built in. But then I believe if you haven't taken a pure Outrider or Vanguard detachment, then you lose the objective secured abilities. Right? That is how that works, right? It just doesn't say that here. They did go up 20 points for the Inceptors? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, so an Inceptor squad went from being incredibly strong to being not very good. I mean, still strong, but at 300 points for 5 is a lot tougher to swallow. But they're in there for Weapons of the Dark Age. Yes, so you have to have Deathwing or Inner Circle to be a first company detachment, and you have to be Ravenwing to be a second company detachment. So we're neither of those things, so we don't get the objective secured on the Terminators. But that's why we have Rights of War, so it's fine. But yeah, there isn't really another great outlet for Plasma. I guess you could do Sternguard. No, you can't do Sternguard Veterans. We already talked about that in the last... for whatever reason, Dark Angels don't get Sternguard Veterans. So maybe there's another way you can fit mass. I guess like Devastator squads, right? You take Plasma Devastator squads. But that doesn't feel so great. So Inceptor squads were amazing. But I guess this list is, I don't know, going to have changed quite a bit, I think. So maybe not worth sitting on. Yeah, the Rights of War would not have been great without that, for sure. I agree. Black Knights real strong, for sure. Yeah, Black Knights are a good... I mean, it's less shot volume. Because they're 35 points a model, right? And you get 2 shots out of them. Versus the Inceptors being 40. I mean, even Inceptors now are still roughly equivalent shot per point. But I don't think an Inceptor is as good as 2 Black Knights, to be fair. So you're probably just going to be rocking Black Knights with them. But I want like a 22-point Combi Melta. Where's that? Where's that in this list, chat? I want the 10, or the Combi Plasma, excuse me. I want the 10 Combi Plasma, boys. Let's go. Oh, yeah, 30 points. Yeah. So I guess it's exactly the same as 1 Inceptor is the 2 Black Knights. All right, moving on. Bembel Clash. Got Eldari at top. We're back to Hail of Doom. I think everyone saw that coming. The singleton character, Warlock, and then a triple Tactical Marines. Well, you get like 2 Combi Plasmas in Tactical Marines. You get 2 Plasma Guns. I want 10. I want 10 Plasma Guns. How do I get it? Help Blasters, I guess. Seems bad. What is the Hellblasters like? Basically did not drop in points, right? GW just wants us to forget that they exist. Yeah, they cost as much as a Black Knight. Like, I guess you could take Assault Plasma and they shoot 3 times, so they shoot 1 more time than Black Knights, but they also are like worse in every other way. They're less strength. Their profile is worse. Easier to kill, slower. So. And not the good. Very bad. Yeah. I mean, Hellblasters are weird, right? Because if you make them too efficient, like if you dropped Hellblasters to 25, like suddenly we're talking, but then you compare them to like an Intercessor and you're like, this thing is like an Assault Plasma Rifle is the same as an auto bolt rifle, except it's strength 7 AP 4 2 damage instead of strength 4 AP 0. So like, you know, you could pay 20% more for like, you know, 150% more damage. And if you're in Arks of Omen where having troops options doesn't really matter, like baked in objective security is fine, but you can right support the stuff that doesn't have it, then you're not like losing that much for taking those guys. So I think like Hellblasters are probably a weird unit to balance. I wonder if the correct points value for them is like 27 or something. Who knows? Well, you can't take Sternguard, though, is the problem. That's the issue that we're running into, right? I don't think this would be a conversation if you could take Sternguard veteran squads, because you would just do that, right? They're like 20-something points, 23 points or something, and you get a plasma gun. Oh, they're 20 points? Yeah. The intercessor stratagem to fire twice. Dude, that used to be such tech. When you could stack multiple wound bonuses, that stratagem was insanity. You just shoot 60 times, like wounding anything in the game on 3s, basically. And just kill whatever you want. Just anything. Invitational list breakdown? Next weekend. Next week. We're going to do that Tactical Tuesday next week. I mean, I don't think Sternguard are, like, unbalanced. They're the best. They might have been unbalanced if they were in Dark Angels. Like, I think that is the, you know, I don't think there was a great reason that Sternguard veterans were not in Dark Angels previously, but now this is a good one, that you could shoot 23 damage shots for, like, 2 CP. Just make Hellblasters 25? I mean, maybe. They could do it for a bit and see how it goes. Everyone has their Hellblaster unit that they really want to use from, like, 7th edition or whenever they came out. All right, anyway, we're talking about Hail of Doom now. Double Phoenix Lords in this guy. So 2 Farseers, Kurno's Bow, Mark of the Incomparable Hunter, Wombo combo, plus Barry Behareth, and Karandras. Interestingly, Karandras and only the 1 Striking Scorpion unit, but Karandras is basically a unit of Striking Scorpions by himself. So I think he himself is probably better than the 2nd Striking Scorpion unit, because he's only 40 more points. And you can't take a 2nd Crushing Blows anyway, so like you would just want the dude who gives them obsec and also is a boss by himself. And then we're on 30 Dire Avengers, or 29, I guess. No upgrades, besides the extra Shuriken Catapults. A Mirror Swords, Current Scream, Piercing Strike, Howling Banshee unit, and then the big Wind Rider squad. So a little one with the Twin Shuriken Catapults. That one just usually trades for objectives, because they get the reroll ones to hit if their target is on an objective. So they can just run on an objective and like sweep a little unit and then flip it. The big unit, though, 9 Shuriken Cannons. That's the one that's gonna that oftentimes just sits as far away as it can from something and fires and fades every turn. That unit is dangerous. Plus the 3 Shining Spears with the Kane's Lance, Paragon Saber, Heartstrike combo, and a Wave Serpent. Wave Serpent usually is the delivery system for Howling Banshees, but it also works on the Avengers as well. Now the question, my question is always whether or not we have a Will of Assyrian. And I don't believe that we do. It's so interesting. I guess the Farseer, it's a Farseer power, right? And the Farseer psychic powers are all so good, you end up not taking it. But these little units, like these little Wind Rider units, are so brutal if they have objective secured. And even the Aspect Warriors are also incredibly strong. The Striking Scorpions less so, because we can just give them obsec with Karandras, but that's, I mean, you gotta jump through some hoops to do that anyway, so. Cool to see Hail of Doom back on the table. We have some Chaos Space Marines at X and 1. Creations of Bile, chat. Oh, post-nerf Creations of Bile. Let's go. This is mixed chaos, actually, so that's a little bit disingenuous. But this is sweet. The patrol detachment is mixed demons, but with Scarbrand. Pink Horrors are in here, I just think, to be a resilient objective holder. They can like backline objective hold with the best of them, because you basically can't shoot that unit to death unless your attack volume's ridiculously high. Because they'll split into blues and then be impossible to kill. So they can just sort of backline camp for you and they get an objective secured. Scarbrand, I think, is really interesting in a Creations of Bile list, because his +1 attack effect, you basically get to double dip on. If you're punching someone, you get +1 attack. They're better at punching you back, but you don't care so much because your stuff fights when it dies and punches back with +1 attack. So Scarbrand, not only being a late game powerhouse, but also can just like get a +1 to attack to this Possessed Bomb, makes it like both good at delivering and receiving charges, which I think is like really cool. This list is really classy. So we have Raptors for the Advance in Charge, double Venom Crawlers to sit back with the Casters, Demon Prince with regeneration, Golax the Decayed. So auto wounding and no damage ignores, which also ignores damage reduction now, which is huge. He's got Death Hex, and then Flames of Spite plus Uloka the Black, so 1 billion mortal wounds off of the Lord Discordant. Uloka does a mortal wound in addition to normal damage, and the Flames of Spite is reroll wounds and extra mortal wounds on wound rolls of 6, so you can double up mortal wounds with both of them. And then an MOP. And the Black Rune of Damnation is on a Possessed Bomb today. Where's Dutes in chat? Dutes, give us the... Rate this list. 1 to 10. How are we looking? I like it. I think this list is sweet. Anytime you get Scarbrand in a list, it's feeling pretty good. We'd also see some AdMech here from Herla. Used to play in T5S2. I believe it was an invitational qualifier at one point with 6-plane. And he's back on AdMech, so that's cute. We're back to Lucius. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Black Mace. So that's the spillover damage, right? It's 3 damage and it carries over. I'm going to go find that relic. But plus on the Mark of Khorne, so they got all the combat buffs. No Mark of Slaanesh, though, so we're not +1. Or +1 to hit. We're +1 strength AP. And yeah, strength and EP in melee. So that gets them to strength 7, which is okay. Yeah, so Black Mace goes to strength 5, 6, 7, 8. AP 3 damage, carries over. Oh my god. Okay. That's pretty good. 110 out of 10. This is your list, but replace the Leman or Land Raider, excuse me, with Scarbrand. Do you have the Mark of Khorne? The Mark of Khorne unit? Or are you playing Chosen? Are you playing Slash Chosen? Excuse me. I do love this list. This list is super, super sick. And also, you got these pink horrors, dude. There's pink horrors in this list. All right, we're talking about AdMech. So it's Lucius. So we get the Solar Flare, and who's on the Techno-Archaeologist, and Radiant. Was it Radiant Mantle? I don't see that one, though. So an Exemplar's Eternity on the Skitarii Marshal for rerolls. Manipulous with Raymond of the Techno Martyr, so ignore move and shoot penalties. And then, this is classic. We're back to the big Skitarii bricks. Oh my god. It's been a while, Skitarii. Welcome back. So Galvanic Rifles, Skitarii Ranger Squad. Second one, and then a Vanguard Squad. So that one gets picked up. Interestingly, Plasma Calivers on this unit, not just all Radium Carbines. So that one gets picked up and dropped with +1 AP, additional range, and then you drop enriched rounds on them, so their hits automatically wound on 4+. So with rerolls, you usually get they shoot 60 shots, not considering the Plasma Caliber shots that they usually get about 40 wounds, automatic wounds. Blam. Just got him. Hotshot121 is in chat. So we're talking about Custodes. We'll get to Custodes eventually. I imagine there's some Custodes in here. 2 units of Sicarians. Infiltrator is pretty useful alongside the Rangers, right? Because you can screen pretty well with Rangers. It's interesting that the Vanguard squads are... the 5-man squads are Vanguards, not Rangers, so they don't get the pregame move. But... that's good for screening at turn 1 deep strikes to protect all the we have Cerberus Raiders, excuse me. So we do have 2 sets of forward deploys effectively. So between the infiltrators that can screen one flank, and then you have the Cerberus Raiders that pregame move to screen another flank. So you're mostly immune to turn 1 dev drop squads. And then you can use just the cheap infantry to follow up with that. The Rust Stalkers don't have any upgrades, but do 1 billion damage with Cord Claws, with their swords. Not quite as much as anymore because they lost access to the extra +1 attack strat out of the veteran cohort, but they're still pretty solid. And then a bunch of Iron Strider Ballistari. 5 Witchwind Cognis Las Cannons. 2 Taraxi Sterilizers is pretty interesting for a bunch of Flamer action. And then a Dune Rider, probably to keep the Sterilizers in. Or I guess the Vanguards. You can also drop 10 Vanguards out of that thing too. Good stuff. Seems pretty classic. We do have another Dark Angels, undefeated, but 2 draws, which is interesting. Although I believe that this event most likely used WTC scoring, so draws are actually... And we should note that as well for Winter War. I think most of them use WTC, and draws are extremely common in WTC, which is unfortunate for the format, but it is what it is. This one's formatted a little funky. It's a mixed. Oh god. Everything spaced out. I haven't looked at these lists beforehand, chat, so I wasn't sure if the formatting worked out. So it is Azrael. So he has the 4+ invulnerable save for bikers and infantry. 1 Talon Master and Samael. So instead of 2 Talon Masters, we got 1, and the Talon Master is the Rites of War Caddy. But then we also have a Chief Apothecary Selfless Healer and a Champion, which is cool. Let's take a look at this Ravenwing Champion for a sec here, chat. He has the upgrade for Hero of the Chapter, which I believe gives... Or the upgrade for Chapter Champion, excuse me. And he has the Blade of Triumph, which I think is a 3 damage Relic Power Sword, right? Yeah, so it's Strength 7, AP 3, 3 damage, Mastercrafted Power Sword. And then he gets reroll wounds against characters, -1 to be hit in melee, and 5 attacks, so 6 on the charge. Oops. And then the base profile, it's pretty cheap for a little nuclear missile guy. They get 6 inches, 6-inch intervention triggering, but that can move either towards the closest enemy or any direction in range of a any enemy character unit. And then fights first against characters. So he's trying to countercharge people. But I think the big thing here, right, is he's a cheap smash character. So he goes to 6 attacks on the charge and 3 damage. And then also gets objective secured if he's standing near the Rites of War guy. So he can flip objectives really easily. And having a big base also kind of helps there, because you can muck with enemy combat movement really well. The rest of the list, I think, is just mixed Dark Angels. So 1 Infiltrator squad. It looks like a 10-man Deathwing squad. Hey, here's the Black Knights, chat. There's a big 9-model Black Knight squad. And then another one of just 3. An Invader ATV. Or 2 Invader ATVs, excuse me. And 3 Storm Speeder Thunder Strikes. Ma na ma na ma 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 ma. The Thunderstrike being the Las Talon guy who gets +1 ballistic skill. So he's 2+ ballistic skill with 3 d6 damage heavy weapons and a rocket pod. Kind of a similar... these guys I feel like they're competing almost directly with Gladiator Lancers. They're 10 points more. You get more shots, but they do less damage. But they also are you know, 4 inches faster and have fly, so significantly more maneuverable. That's cool. Bolt and Wah. We do have some Iron Hands. 2 Iron Hands players over at Bolt and Wah chat. We have a lot of Iron Hands to talk about, actually. Iron Hands and Dark Angels feels like the winners from what do you call that? Space Marines in Arks of Omen. We have Grey Knights at 5-0. Already showing me up. I threw Grey Knights some shade. I'm still not entirely convinced, but they did 5-0 here. So maybe I was mistaken about how strong Grey Knights are. It's the Psychic Epitome Brotherhood Librarian, so he does extra mortal wounds. He gets a free combi melta now, which is kind of cute, so he does a little bit more damage than he used to. A Brotherhood Tech Marine. Back in the day, the Librarian, by the way, it had Terminator armor, but it had to pay 5 points for its Thorn Bolter, so oftentimes you just had a Brotherhood Librarian with no gun, which is kind of funny. A Tech Marine, and we are, this doesn't say what subfaction, but I think this is Prescient Brethren, because Divination is the action, the warlord trait they can take so that the Brotherhood Tech Marine can regenerate CP. Castellan Crow, he's pretty classic now. He's becoming more and more popular. Basically, he's got a 6-inch heroic intervention because he's a chapter champion. So he can, you put him, and he's got a 40 mil base. So if you put his 40 mil base wholly within range to hold an objective, then your opponent can't run on that objective without triggering his intervention. So and then he always fights on death. So even if they charge in, you know, he intervenes, they choose to fight and kill him, then he just swings and like kills half their unit. So he's very good kind of defensive character. He's like a counterpunching character. For 85 points, he gives you another, he's another single caster to do your psychic actions. If you decided for some reason not to take Ritual Purification because it got nerfed really heavily, then you could take like Warp Ritual, you could take Psychic Interrogation, and Castellan Crow can do all that. And he's just a pretty sweet little dude. Little guy. And then we got a Nemesis Dread Knight, Grandmaster. These guys are sweet in Prescient Brethren because you get the 1 CP strat to reroll hit ones to hit and wound. So the Grandmaster is basically rerolling himself at that point. Servant of the Throne, Sigil of Exigence on him, the classic Wombo combo, as well as Unyielding Anvil, so he gives the obsec to everybody within 6, or the core units. And then 30 interceptors, so 6x5 interceptors because they'll split into little units. We have 2 units of Strike Marines, and then 3 Nemesis Dread Knights with big stabby swords. These interceptor squads, man, are they scary right now? With no Armor of Contempt, and they're just like punching you with AP3 swords. So almost any other Space Marine infantry just gets murdered by them, and they're faster than most of the other like chaff infantry in the game. So like interceptors are just straight money right now. They're so strong. List with Arks of Omen is 6 squads of possessed. Well, that doesn't sound entirely legal because you have to rule of 3 yourself. Unless there's multiple possessed data sheets. You could take a cursed cultists, right? That kind of counts. I guess you could do 3 possessed and 3 warp talons. Does they count? Warp talons are close enough, right? Space Wolves, also X and 1. Dude, the Space Marine meta is wild. If this list doesn't have a Mastodon in it, I'm going to riot, though. I think my video tomorrow, by the way, is going to be another LVO breakdown video, and I'm going to break down some of the X and 1 lists, and we'd have one with a Mastodon in it, which is so classy. This one has no Mastodon. It's unacceptable. Throw it out. We can't even talk about it. How do you even win a game with Space Wolves without a Mastodon? We're bringing Herald Deathwolf, who is, if I remember correctly, the Thunderwolf Cavalry special character. Whose datasheet I have probably not looked at in 2 years. So I'm going to have to avail myself of some Wahapedia here to remind myself what he does. So for 120 points, you get a Thunderwolf Cavalry profile, so move 10, advance and charge. 5 attacks, so 6 on the charge, plus 3 from the wolf. So he's got 6 at strength, 6 AP2, 2 damage, and 3 at strength, 5 AP2, 1 damage. He gives Thunderwolves his leadership characteristic, which basically doesn't matter, but is cool. He has a Rites of War aura and is -1 damage with 7 wounds. And an invuln and a storm shield. So he's a 2+ armor, 4+ invuln with 7 wounds, -1 damage. Guy's a tank. Okay. Sure. It's interesting that he has Saga of the Hunter as his warlord trait, but he can already advance and charge, right? Because he's Swift Hunter. So like the biggest use case for Saga of the Hunter is not useful, which means that I don't think you give him his warlord trait. But he's the captain in the list. We haven't even heroic supported to get a second captain. It's just Herald Deathwolf. That guy's sweet. How do I feel about Razorbacks with interceptors inside? Well, so classically, you almost always took a Rhino with 10 interceptors in it. Razorbacks are pretty efficient right now. I don't know if they're super great without support for vehicles, but I think it's probably fine. I think the dedicated transport plus interceptor archetype is very good, and it's always been very good. It gives you outlets to like ritual purification on the first turn because you can push really far forward. You can threaten like basically across the table, like the midline of the table. You give yourself a 9-inch charge in the enemy deployment zone. If you go second with the list, you basically are charging turn 1 with like 2 interceptor units, which is disgusting. The Razorbacks are 100 with las cannons on them. That's pretty good. 100 points for 2 las cannons is not the worst thing ever. Oh, another list has Razorbacks in it? Yeah, that seems solid. I do think that the one thing that Grey Knights typically lack, although they can get a little bit of range with Tide of Convergence, obviously, but they have to commit their Nemesis Dread Knights to do like damage at range, oftentimes. And in order to get the maximum damage out of the Nemesis Dread Knights, you have to be up like 24 inches. And so oftentimes you just like you kind of like full commit. You're like, all right, the 3 Nemesis Dread Knights are going in. They're gonna shoot something. Hope it goes well. And if they like flub it and don't kill it, then you just lose all your Nemesis Dread Knights immediately. And I think the ability to poke your opponent from longer range by committing something that's significantly less expensive is like a really good benefit. Saga of the Hunter gives Thunderwolf Cavalry fallback and charge. Yeah. I mean, I agree, Agent X. Like if you're in a situation where you get to fall back with your Thunderwolf Cavalry unit, like you're probably happy anyway. You're like, I would love to be falling back and charging here, but the fact that they like both hit something and killed it, and then also got tied up in melee and didn't die, you're like, all right. Although, I mean, to be fair, Thunderwolf Cavalry's kind of main goal is to tank right now, so falling back and charging is okay. That said, I don't know if you need Saga of the Hunter on a guy who already advances and charges. It's significantly better used on a different Smash character. Like Warlord here is the Chaplain. He's got Aura of Majesty, so the biggest auras, but you could give him advance and charge, and he threats 20 plus the charge, which is pretty good. And then Wise Orator, Armor of Rust on that guy too. Does that increases the Armor of Rust radius, right? Because it's just oh no, it's 3 inches on command phase abilities and litanies. Shit, it has like a specific rider on it, right? Yeah. Command or Rites of Battle, Tactical Precision, Chapter Master, and Spiritual Leaders, as well as litanies. Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't increase the range for any other auras that you have, so that's okay. Gray Hunters packs with grav guns. Okay. Nice. A 10 model Wolfguard Terminator. 2 Cyclo Missile Launcher, Storm Shield Thunderhammer. Everybody else Storm Shield Thunderhammer, a couple Lightning Claws. So very Assault Terminator oriented, but you get the Cyclo Missile Launchers for freezies, which is sweet. Or for extra pack an extra punch. Double Wolfen. 2 Wolfen Dreadnoughts. Fucking love that these are back in the meta. What a sick unit Wolfen Dreadnoughts are. 4+ invulnerable save from the Blizzard Shield. Double Heavy Flamers on them. Oh, I guess if they just get the second one for free, right? Oh, the Great Axe doesn't come with a Storm Bolter. That's sad. Only the one Storm Bolter. It's interesting that the claws do, but not the Great Axe. Bizarre. That's like very much a model that just gets whatever off of the models. Like the profile is based on what the models has basically. And then a bunch of Skyclaws with free upgrades. 2 Grav Guns. We're all in on Grav Guns today. I guess if we're gonna be standing like the most important turn for the list is tactical. So having the Grav Gun makes a bunch of sense. I don't know if I've ever played against a regular Grav Gun, chat. You're almost always taking Meltas on those guys, but if we want to kill other Space Marines, it seems like it makes sense. Just gonna pull up the profile. So the Grav Gun's rapid fire, it's 18-inch range. So it shoots, it rapid fires at 9. Strength 5, AP 3. So it's AP 4 in tactical. It goes to 2 damage against Space Marines. I feel like that's not as good as a Meltagun. If you're already trying to get within 9, you might as well just shoot a Meltagun at somebody. But they do get one shot at 18, so they have a little bit greater like area of effect. I guess that's fine. Yeah, I mean, you take like for Space Marines especially, and especially the melee Space Marines, your anti-infantry is just so passively good. It's like we have Thunderwolf Cavalry in this army. For 30 points a model, Thunderwolf Cavalry make like 7 attacks. So you don't like, you're not that, you know, hurting for anti-infantry attacks, and like you'll eventually just chew through most infantry-based lists. So the anti-tank is what you need, because if you punch a Thunderwolf Cavalry with a Lightning Claw at a tank, he'll do like 2 damage and then bounce. So you'd need the extra anti-tank shooting. I guess like everything's kind of mid AP, like it's AP 2-ish. So getting all the extra high AP shooting to punch through like Space Marines and Blood Angels and stuff maybe helps. Maybe that's what we're doing. I don't know. So interested to see Grav Guns. Mikey Herbert over here from Hellstorm Wargaming. Went 4-1. We have some delicious Iron Hand Successor, Master Artist's Whirlwind of Rage, like splitting 6s on the charge, and get a hit reroll every time. It's the Rights of Warbox Spiritum Lieutenant, Primaris Tech Marine, Target Protocols, 2 Infiltrator Squads. I think we're going to be seeing these lists quite a bit. Oh, Grav Pistols in the Vanguard Veteran Squad. That's interesting. All Grav. We're all Grav all the time these days. I guess everyone's, I mean, in fairness, everyone's like ready for the Space Marine meta. And if Space Marines are the truth, which it's so far looking like they are, given how many Space Marines we talked about just this video alone, just running a bunch of Grav seems to make sense. So, you know, I guess I understand. That Vanguard veteran squad shoots at another Vanguard veteran squad, and you're gonna kill a bunch of dudes. I like the scout squad. Valdor's in chat here. He played the double scout squads against me recently. Or he played the scout squad against me. So you get a free missile launcher, free sniper rifles as well, and they get all of the heavy weapon benefits, plus the relic contemptor combo. Dreadnought is an elite character, hence for elites, because you get the elite for free. I like that he noted this down, so that no one calls him out for being borked. 3x3 heavy eradicators, a drop pod. So we have one. We probably keep grav cannon squads on the ground, and then the multi-melta squads benefit from being closer in, so we get the drop pod for them. And then you have like one flex where you can put a second Devastator squad in reserve. Somebody asked me why people often mix weapon on the Devastator squads, and it's mostly so you can just optimize your damage. So like you don't want to overpay for too many multi-meltas, so because they cost extra points. So having one multi-melta that you pour all the buffs into, because you can Armorium Cherub for double tap, and then the Space Marine Sergeant gives it +1 to hit. So it's dropping down, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, shooting 4 times. So it's basically pulling the weight of 2 multi-meltas, and then the grav cannons, if you need higher volume, you just have more grav cannons. And if you don't need the extra multi-melta shots, you can just double tap. You can supercharge one of the grav cannons instead. So you basically get to pick whichever profile you need, and having the multi-melta just gives you an anti-tank profile if you really need it. But the grav cannons are very good in Iron Hands because of All Mercy's weakness, so they can double damage their 6s to wound. Or double up their 6s to wound. They deal an additional wound. Then a Lane Speeder Storm. You get the Storm unlock because we're taking scouts, which you don't normally get, but the Land Speeder Storm is a really good pickup. The Land Speeder Storm is sort of a benefit of taking scouts now because they're so solid all by themselves. They're really hampered by the dedicated transport rule, but they're kind of the reason that you would take dedicated transport. Like Land Speeder Storms are like you would just take Land Speeder Storms outside of taking scouts if you didn't have to fill them. But that was the change in FLM, where you could have taken dedicated transports and not put anybody in them. But now you've got to. Got some orcs to talk about. Cool. This list didn't load in. Okay. I think one player at this event. I remember looking at this event earlier, and I think this guy might not have actually posted his list in BCP. I think that it was like a photo of a printout or something. It's very weird. So it might not have transitioned over. We have Michael Duff, another Iron Hands. This is a similar list, but it's the same Eradicators, Devastators. This one's double Scout Squads and double Tornado Land Speeders. I played against these on stream the other day over the weekend, and they are so good. You get an Assault Cannon and a Multi-Melta. You can even take them in a big unit, and then you can dump the buffs on the unit of them if you take things like Ironstone. But we're taking Master Artisan Whirlwind of Rage, so we don't get the Ironstone buff. And then one last one, Adeptus Mechanicus again. This one, Martian Forge World. So the Skitari also get Canticles of the Omnissiah. We have Exemplar's Eternity, Skitari Marshal, Arraignment of the Technomartyr on a Techno-Archaeologist, 4 units of 5 Skitari Vanguards with Plasma Calibers, 10 Corpus Scari Electro Priests. So these are the guys that shoot lightning bolts from their hands. They're high attack volume, so they're good for Wrath of Mars, dealing a bunch of mortal wounds. They also give you access to the Fight Last stratagem, which is kind of tough to get access to in AdMech because it doesn't affect the Skitari units, and those are the ones actually fighting, generally speaking. It usually only matters if you touch the tech priests themselves, but having the big Corpus Scari units means that you can like put this unit down, like hyper buff it, it has sick Overwatch if you charge it, and then if you touch it, they'll just make you fight last and punch you first. And their attacks are not terrible. They're not super bad. We have some Sicarian Infiltrators, 1 unit of Ruststalkers. These ones have Tempercopia, so they also have a fight last. So we have access to 2 fight lasts across the army. So it's actually very resilient to like aggressive melee play. And then 2 units of 4 Iron Strider Ballistari, 2 units of Cerberus Raiders, 1 Sulphurous Hound, 1 Sidonian Dragoons. Hell yeah. You can use like Shroud Psalm, the defensive. You can stack defensive imperatives, Doctrina imperatives, and Canticles. Why do I keep forgetting the word Canticles? Because everyone always is worried about Doctrinas. Nobody takes Canticles. But this list does, because it's Martian. Super sick. You can stack the defensive Doctrina imperatives and litanies, and Canticles to buff their defensive profiles quite a bit. So, like, you can Shroud Psalm for +1 save, Bulwark Imperative to reduce speed, but get an additional +1 save, so they go down to a 1+. You also get the +1 Strength Imperative, or the +1 Strength Canticle. I'm not sure that matters so much. And you can buff their charge. Yeah, all of the Canticles really are really good for them. And -1 to be hit in melee. Okay. Okay. All right. Calm down. Calm down, Sidonian Dragoons. They're naturally -1 to be hit at range. So they're -1 to be hit in a 1+ armor save. Right, because they're 4+ base? Or 3+ base? Or are they 4+ base? Sidonian Dragoons. It's been a little while since you used to get taken in the pregame move subfaction. They're 3+ save, yes. They go to a 1+. Cataphrons can now use Electroshock. I guess that's true. Well, they could always use Electroshock, right? Because it's just the whatever the cult keyword is. It is. Oh no, yeah, it's just core. It's Cult Mechanicus core or character excluding vehicles. Yeah, I guess so they were restricted from it, but now they can get it because they're core keyworded. Oh, that's sick. Actually, I didn't even realize that. That's super cool. Honestly, I thought they could do it, and just nobody took them, so it didn't matter. But that's a really good call out, especially if they're running like Breachers, which can get like you can hyper buff to be super tanky and just sit in the front of your army, and they fight pretty good. I talked about that Ryza list last week, I think, chat, where it like hyper buffs with full rerolls and stuff, the Cataphron melee profiles. But in a fight last, a 1 CP fight last on top of that is actually disgusting. Oh my god, that's so sick! Dude, Adeptus Mechanicus is the truth now. All hail the Omnissiah. I got Cerberus Sulphur Hounds as well. The Sulphur Hounds they can reduce toughness of things that they engage. So if they wombo combo with the Sidonian Dragoons, you get to some insane strength values. So the Dragoons base are strength 5. They go to strength 8 with their weapons, strength 9 if you litany, effective strength 10 if you reduce enemy toughness. Oh, I guess it does that. It doesn't really. Yeah, effectively strength 10. It's mathematically almost the same. At AP 2/2 damage with Tesla. Hot damn. That's super cool. Graia spicy because Cataphrons can heroically intervene 6 inches. That does seem good. Let's take a look at Graia here. Auto pass morale is actually solid. Or auto pass combat attrition. That is a problem for AdMech. Low leadership is an issue. And then if you have the Warlord trait, start of heroic intervention step, select 1 friendly core unit within 9 and it heroically intervenes. That is pretty spicy. I guess it's the question of whether or not you want this like. You're like, okay, here's the defensive like wonky gotcha that your opponent can like. Heroic interventions, honestly, are kind of easily played around. It's tougher if you're representing the fight last. But you can, for example, like charge some idiot dumb unit and like engage one Cataphron. And then they're ineligible to fight last. And then you just fight with the thing that you wanted to anyway. For example. Like there's like a dedicated transport or something that just like soaks the fight last. Or soaks the heroic intervention. But I guess so the question is whether... Oh, Styges is the pregame move, by the way. I guess the question is whether you want that or you want one of the sub-factions that like super buffs them to make them do 1 billion more damage. And I think either way it's probably fine. Mars, Lucius, Ryza? I imagine that. Oh yeah, the Vanguard also do that, chat. Yeah, you're right. They're also irradiated. Vanguard don't have tons of cool flamers, though, so, you know, is it even worth it? This list is spicy as hell. Adam Watson, with his Adeptus Mechanicus, super sick. Galaxy in Grasp. Oh, we got some Astra Militarum showing up. I wonder how many of these events allowed Astra Militarum. Or how many players are, like, just not playing them right now because they're in, like, a really weird mechanical state. Like, they're in the state that, like, Tyranids were at when they released. They're not... I honestly don't think release Astra Militarum are as good as release Tyranids were. But they have all of these, like, interactions and abilities that are clearly mistakes. And they're, like, clearly overpowered. Like, everyone's talking about the Earthshaker carriage batteries right now, where they just, like, added a bunch of keywords to them that make them eligible for, like, every ability. And, probably don't need that. So, like, I wonder if people are just hanging off until the faction gets FAQ'd. All right. We'll talk about this one. We'll start with Iron Hands. This might just be a regular Iron Hands list. Iron Hands may become like the Harlequins of Arks of Omen, where we just start skipping them because all their lists are the same. This one's double Infiltrators, 1 Incursor, Relic Contemptor, Dreadnought. Oh, this is triple Redemptor. All right. Mea culpa. We're playing a real list. We're bricking up the table. We're not bringing 9 Eradicators. It is Master Artisan's Whirlwind of Rage still. No Eradicators. Double Devastator squads, double Melta, Graph Cannons, a drop pod, 2 Suppressors. Oh, this list is sweet. We have Lightning Claw Vanguard Veterans, 2 Suppressor squads, and triple Redemptor Dreadnought. The Lightning Claw Vanguard Veterans are sick. They're also I think Mikey made a post that he was the #1 Iron Hands player, but like at the same time somebody had 5-0 the same weekend. Oh, you silly goose. Yeah. You got laughed. They get the full rerolls, so if you put Mercy as weakness on them because of the Lightning Claw, they reroll their wound rolls, and every 6 doubles. So they go kind of ham. It's a little bit different because there's a Power Fist on the Sergeant. But this is like an old school Vanguard veteran build because they also have Storm Shields. That's sweet. And then a bunch of Redemptor Dreadnoughts. This is... If I were to have built a... If I were to have built a list in ages past, it would look exactly like this. Astra Militarum. Fast attack is a compulsory. Oh, we're starting the bodyguard technology, chat. We're starting strong. Let's go. So we have Finial of the Nemberdesh first. So ignore attack penalties and damage modifiers. Master Tactician is that one. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to look that one up. And then we have the medic in the team and the Ogryn bodyguard. So because it's Akkadian, I believe the full combo, and somebody in chat can correct me if I'm wrong here, is that because it's a Akkadian unit, they get access to Akkadian stands. So you can transhuman the Ogryn bodyguard. The bodyguard eats all the attacks and is -1 damage. and gets a damage ignore because of the medic, and then you can use the stratagem to regenerate him. So he's with the brute shield, he's a 4+ invul, -1 damage, transhuman, 5+ damage ignore, who regenerates every turn, who just comes back to life every turn. So he is like a absolute tank. And then Master Tactician is the one thing I didn't know what it does. Oh, it's got redeploys. And you can redeploy into Strategic Reserve if you want. So that's sick. Especially alongside Scout Sentinels, because we get the pregame move on Scout Sentinels. So you can like redeploy them to an aggressive position and then move them forward. Or vice versa. Deploy them aggressively and then move them backwards. So 2 tank commanders. One has Gatekeeper, the other one's an Executioner. The one Khazarkin with Barbican's Key. So we got the full Khazarkin combo on lock here. I made a whole video about it. We can give these guys an extra shot on the Hotshot Las Guns. So they get 21 shots with the Hotshot Las Guns, 8 shots with the Hotshot Volley Guns. They're taking Veteran Guerrillas, so they ignore light cover, but you also could take extra range from heirloom weapons so that all their guns rapid fire out extra distance. And then you have Lord Solar point at them for full hit and ruined rerolls, and then you use Barbican's Key to redeploy them. If you also can end up in range of the Finial of the Neverdish first, then you also ignore negative modifiers. So you just kind of go ham. So then they ignore move and shoot with the Hotshot Las Guns. So they actually do a little bit more damage at that point. And then you just fire, like probably... You just split shots evenly. So you have like 9 effective weapons, basically. And you split like Hotshot... it's like I guess Hotshot, 2 Volley Gun, 2 Las Guns. Volley Gun, 2 Las Guns. 3 Las Guns and a pistol, 3 separate ways, and with full rerolls, you deal somewhere around 6 mortal wounds to each one if you use ingrained precision and overcharged las cells. I think the total average damage is somewhere around like 5.2 or something, but total the potential damage is 18, but split between 3 units. People usually just say Militarum, chat. Or IG, because it shortens to Imperial Guard, too. It's a shame way for to have your codex come out, waiting for so long to have a new codex, and then everyone wants to shy away from it because of how it came out. Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't know. I mean, there's something happened with this codex, right? Like, it was fully released, like actually you could buy it in a box so long ago, like 3 full months ago at this point, right? When did KDS Vance come out? The first, like the second on my autofill here is like KDS Stan's release date. October? Oh, revealed in October. Released November 26th. So 2 full months ago, right? One would have been December, yeah, November. Almost exactly 2 months and a week ago. You're like, you had a physical copy of your codex in hand. No one let you use it until like last week. And then even if you use it, like they've never FAQ'd it in 2 months. So you just don't know what your rules are. It's so stupid. We could talk for, I mean, like we every discussion about how like things are wrong in 40k ends up with like the codex release cycle is bad, and I think this is a really good example. Look at that. Good stuff. All right. 9 armored sentinels, 9 scout sentinels. Are we actually taking born soldiers? I didn't even... Oh, we did. Okay. Because you can take armored superiority in this, and then these all count as 3 models. And then you have the 2 tank commanders, so you can pulse out objective secured to all the different units. But I think we're just going to do that anyway. So you have 18 sort of tanky vehicles that are super duper efficient. 50 points apiece with plasma cannons and or flamers. they're like super. They have tons of forward pressure, so they can body block you really easily. And on top of that, they also can get objective secured. So they're just obnoxious to kill. Plus, you have like 3 heavy flamers in the Scout Sentinel units. So sometimes you're like, you know, I just can't even charge them because they just lose the light infantry squad on the way in. Plus, they have chainsaws. They'll chainsaw you too. Bloop. So good. And then double mortar teams. So they can ignore a lot of penalties thanks to the finial, but they can't ignore the indirect fire penalty. They lost the ability to ignore that, so that's still in there. But what you can do is order them with the officer, and he has the order that lets you you get +1 to hit and you get +1 AP. So you actually just counteracts the indirect fire bonus. So you can't ignore it, but you can counteract it. And then a Hydra. A Hydra? What? That's wild. What is this whole Hydra doing here? I guess just being classy. They do have really good profiles against the aircraft, but I don't know if we're going to see too many aircraft anymore because of all the nerfs they got in Arks of Omen. Hydra's shooting 8 AP2 autocannon shots, and you get 16 shots against aircraft, and you get the barrage, the flak strat, so you can shoot them when they come in. I guess it's like really, if people are still running like Sunshark bombers, this thing just kills one when it comes out of deep strike, which is very cute. But I don't know how often that's going to happen. That's an interesting pick. I guess AP2 against non-armor of contempt is actually kind of sweet. And it's a high attack volume to get to use Born Soldiers on. Hail Hydra? Yeah. Yeah. That seems fine. You pay 20 more points for a unit of suppressors basically, and you get 1 less shot, but it's on a tank body and you like get bonuses against aircraft, so all right. You know, seems fine. Just hope that IG gets hit hard with the nerf pen as hard as the Tyranids did. Never wish that on another 40k player, chat. Oh no. Oh no, all my stuff went away. What the fuck? Come back. Everybody gets to see my desktop for a bit. That's, yeah, I don't know. That's rude. Nobody should get nerfed as hard as Tyranids got nerfed. I hope that they just, like, have to pay reasonable points for their abilities. Oh, it's hitting on 3s. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense, actually. So it almost literally is a unit of suppressors with 1 less shot, but better defensive stats for 20 more points. I mean, I think you would take a Lehman Russ if you could, but if you're out of points for Lehman Russ, you might as well take this guy. Seems fine. I'd be interested to see if like were there any cheeky aircraft anywhere? No. While we're here, this is a Hail of Doom list and a half. Another Karandras. Harith and Karandras getting a ton of play. That HQ slot looks pretty familiar. No Howling Banshees, no Striking Scorpions, but we're running 30 Dire Avengers, 19 Wind Riders. 19 Wind Riders. We are all in the Wind Rider life. Got some Genestealer Cult. Matt Watson. We're running Deep Supplies this time. So that is a floating wound reroll, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Industrial Affinity and Custom Tutorial. So Stalwart and ignore penalties with the heavy weapons. Industrial weapons. And then you also get a floating wound reroll on all the little neophyte units. Of which we're running many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x10. No. Oh my god. These are all just 10-mans. Yeah, they're all just 10-mans. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 x10 neophytes with seismic cannons. And then the big Acolyte hybrid squad with ruck drills. Sick. Double Pierce Train Genestealers, one with the came from below. Do we have a Goliath Rock Grinder? We did, or Goliath Truck, excuse me. We do to keep that second one in. So the first one, like, you just you get the pregame move, and then you just alpha somebody with it. You run the rock dragon. You port the rock dragon up to the middle of the table, and then round 2, you disembark, advance and charge. Bloop. There he goes. With the auto 6 advance, I should say. If you also take the upgrade on the Primus, which I don't think that we've done, there's no upgrades in the Primus. You can pay for a proficient planning to give his rerolls to the pure stranging sealers in the first turn. It's a once per game to target any unit with his ability rather than just core. And for whatever reason, the pure stranging sealers don't have core. Probably so that you don't hypercharge them too hard. They already punch well enough. We can calm down. And then 2 Achilles Ridge Runners, just to shoot mining lasers at people. Pretty good recipients of the deep supplies buff, because they get the wind reroll on the mining laser shot. And then a couple Adeline Jackals to be hard to kill. And that's a list! Shutter's having to paint that? Yeah, we'll see. Everyone freaked out about how aircraft must be in reserve. Yeah, I mean, it's like on top of... The problem was that the only, like, viable aircraft in the metagame to begin with were bombers. And bombers basically just lost their bombing mechanics. They don't get it until turn 3. So you have to stay off the table, come on the table, sit for a turn, not get killed, and then you get to run a bombing run. And it's tough to pull off. So you end up paying extra points for this thing that's like, this vehicle that's, you know, easy to see, not really hard to kill. Doesn't usually trade up without using all its abilities, and he doesn't get like all its potential damage output. Which I think is fine, but I think that the aircraft that was already good in the meta, like Harpies and Razor and Sunshark bombers, could probably have stayed the same points cost. And maybe gotten the ability to bomb when they came on the table. And then a lot of other aircraft in the game could have gone down points, because a lot of it had been nerfed sequentially because of how strong aircraft was, and they just kept most of their points the same and didn't account for the fact that they changed the aircraft mechanics. So you have a lot of other things like, you know, Archaeopter Fuselages and you know, razor wing jet fighters and stuff that like no one's ever gonna play. And now that you can't hit people in the first turn with them, they're gonna play them even less. So I don't think aircraft are like as an archetype are gone, but I think they're just like, they lost so much efficiency that it's kind of like, why? The Wazbomb Blast-A-Jet. Yeah, they also lost the ability to bomb as they leave the table. But you're rarely going to leave the table. You're mostly going to leave the table from when you die, I think. Because they're like, they can't do any of that on the first turn. They drop it on the second turn. You could then leave on turn 3, but you then lose the ability to bomb entirely. So, I don't know. You also then can't bomb the next turn. It's like a kind of a nightmare. Anyway, that's fine. I think aircraft are like a really toxic mechanic. I think losing them is not the end of the world. And it is hilarious that I think losing aircraft, there's a caliber of players for whom taking aircraft out of their list or forcing them to deep strike their aircraft actually makes them better. Because there's so many players who just go first and run 2 aircraft into your deployment zone without really taking the time to gauge how much damage they're going to do. They trade significantly down, and then you get to kill both of their airplanes. That happened so many times, like I've lost count. And they didn't do it like, you know, they'll just commit 2 aircraft, shoot, and do like 100 points of damage and then die. And you're like, okay, well, that was fun. Thanks for giving me a quarter of your army. I mean, most of the aircraft that were good is mostly shooting. Like Sunshark bombers have tons of guns. Harpies have tons of guns. Like Wazbomb Blast-A-Jets have tons of guns. Archaeopter Stratoraptors have a lot of shooting. But it just has to be, you know, it has to be worthwhile. It's not that the bombs were all that they did, but it did like give them a 10% bump in damage, and losing that sucks. All right, moving on. We got some Drukhari here. Simon Laxton. Drukhari, another sleeper from Arks of Omen, I think. Oh, we're starting strong, chat. Oh, this list looks spicy as hell. Drazhar and friends in Arks of Omen. So it's Warlord Drazhar, not a real space raid, because you have to take a Warlord Archon. You have to take all the HQs. Warlord Drazhar, so he gets Hatred Eternal, so he gets his full rerolls. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 5. Oh my god. 5 Kabalite Warrior units with Phantasm Grenade Launchers. This is 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. And then triple racks. So the racks are in Dark Creed. We talked about this list over the weekend. This is a list similar to what Scary played at LVO. The Dark Creed gives you an aura of -1 leadership. You then can combo that with the Phantasm Grenade Launchers, because the Phantasm Grenade Launchers try to roll above your leadership to do you mortal wounds. So as long as you can drop people's leadership with the racks, then the Kabalite Warriors just shooting out of their transport start stacking mortal wounds. And you don't even need to, like, you know, do a billion damage, but as long as you can trade a rack unit for something like less, you know, for a vehicle or something that's significantly more expensive than the rack unit, because you just ran a rack unit at them, you're doing probably pretty fine. And then it's triple Incubi, double Mandrakes, 3 Raiders with Phantasm Grenade Launchers. So we're at 8 Phantasm Grenade Launchers so far. Triple Venoms. So we probably put Kabalite Warriors in the Raiders. And then we fill the Venoms with Incubi. And then it is a Berserk Fugue Detachment. What does this do? I don't even know what this one does. This is a ridiculous list. Drukhari is so deep, man. They got so much going on. So Berserk Fugue gives you exploding 6s on first round combat and 5 up against mortals. Interesting. Makes them harder to peel out. That's actually really cool. So one thing that often happens is that because your units are so small, you know, it's Hellions, it's 6 Hellions, so it's 12 wounds. Witches are 5 models, 5 wounds. Oftentimes, like, you want to tag people and lock them in melee, but against decently psychic heavy armies, you just get smited to death. But you can't, it's harder to do if they have a built-in damage ignore. That's really cool. Plus, you also get exploding 6s, so that's just solid. Oftentimes, you would see them take Test of Skill, so they get the Hellions get +1 to wound against vehicles. But that's fine. The Hellions are also an interesting recipient for the random combat drugs. The Witches are a little bit whatever, but they're mostly there for objectives secured. But the Hellions, they have a decent... Oh, they also have Phantasm Grenade Launchers. So we're up to 10. 10 Phantasms, chat. Hell yeah. But they have a decent spread of abilities. They have good melee, and they're fast, and they have decent shooting, because they have an Assault 2 weapon, or a Phantasm Grenade Launcher, as we see. Which means that any of the buffs are good, and they're decently sticky, so like getting a toughness bonus is good. Any of the buffs is good for them. So almost any combination of 2 combat drugs they get is solid. Oh yeah, Grievously trophies on the Venoms too, right? Yeah. Oh my god, this list is so cool, chat. Yeah, so you can -2 leadership and then shoot them with 10 Phantasm Grenade Launchers. This list is so sick. I want to play this army. Oh my god. What is the Dark Creed stratagem? I don't remember anymore. Oh yeah, ignore lookout, sir. That's core for core and characters though. That's actually not very good. Just kidding. I don't think none of their units can actually shoot decent weapons. Yeah, so that doesn't do anything. Dude, this list is so cool. Do mandrakes have a leadership affecting effect? No, just the -1 to hit. Sag. Oh, to play with this list, chat. These like wombo combo mechanics are one of my favorites. I love dealing mortal wounds because I hate it when my opponent rolls saves against me, and I love combo effects. And this is one of the coolest ones that I've seen. I think I'm glad that this list is like seeing a lot of play too. Plus, it has Incubi and has Warlord Drazhar, who's like the greatest, like the highest damage output single model in like basically the whole game, or single character maybe, I don't know. Sub 10 wound character. He's like fighting with the Relic Contemptor, I guess. Drazhar versus Relic Contemptor. Who would win in a fight? Let's find out. Yeah. So this list is super cool. You start breaking through. You start breaking through Space Marines. So Space Marines are in. If you're Leadership 8, you start clipping through Leadership 8 on a 6, a 2d6 6 to deal mortal wounds. If you're any lower than that, you just destroy them. Like Tyranids get dumpstered by this. It might be a little bit tough if like Space Marines and Custodians become more prevalent, then this list probably loses a lot of steam. But if people are running, you know, regular Space Marine, like it's like Leadership 7, Leadership 8 Space Marine stuff, then it's pretty good. Even like Eldar is mostly Leadership 8, right? So you just start shooting Eldar for pretty decent. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we got the Custodies. The Custodies shout out in there, chat. All right. Cool stuff. And then DZTV's got some. We actually had no Custodies this week. What? What? Hold up. 2d6 to beta5 is a 70. That sounds about right. Where's my many dice? Oh no, I can't find it. I don't know where my dice math breakdown is, chat. I'm not gonna look for it right now. But yeah, I think it's a 65 maybe, or a 66 or something. All right, let's go to this last one. Chaos Demons in first place. George Crabtree. Oh my God. This list is all over the place. Triple Flamers is back, baby! Fluxmaster with Endless Grimoire, so he can get new powers back. Who's the Warlord here? Oh, Bellicor. Can you... Hold up. What? This is an Arks of Omen detachment. Did Bellicor get a shout out in the Supreme Command thing? He didn't, right? I thought it was just Silent King and Gilliman and Shadow Sun. Where's that FAQ? The Supreme Command FAQ. Oh, I think I just have it saved, probably. Yeah. I have it in a picture. Here it is. I'll use it for a video. Abaddon the Spoiler, Silent King, Commander Shadowsun, Belisarius Call, Primarch. The fuck is this? Is this like a special rule? I'm trying to find the event page now, chat. We're doing some sleuthing here. January GT at Factorum Warminster. We found it. No. These are all of their future events. Of you details. Show me your player pack. Player pack of him. Oh my god. We're going too deep, chat. I thought that was going to be an under construction website. I was going to pull my hair out. All right. January 2023. Player pack. We found it. We got there. Do-do-do. Do-do-do. Rule of 3 still applies. Your army must be created using an Arks of Omen detachment for... What the fuck? What? Why was this allowed? Wait, what? Do they have like a separate FAQ? Any FAQ released 1 week before the event. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a house rule. It's like literally not in their player pack. Like it specifies the army build. I mean, nobody gets to the final round without it being a house rule. That's bizarre. Okay. I mean, I guess rules lock. Well, rules lock was 1 week before. When was the Supreme Command update? The Supreme Command update was like the 19th. So that would have been, or the 18th maybe? That would have been before this event. I'm so confused. Why would they make that change? It's also like you also just can't take... Oh, I guess you could take Skulltaker outside. Cuz he's a herald, right? So you could just take this list without the Supreme Command. It doesn't do anything. Maybe he just wanted to put it as Supreme Command cuz it's cool. Is that how that works, right? Cuz Scarbrand unlocks a free herald slot and Skulltaker has the right keywords, I assume. Skulltaker. There's so many skull things in the Chaos Demons Codex. What would that rule be? Is that a detachment ability? Yeah. Yeah, it's a detachment ability. For each greater demon unit included in a detachment, you can include 1 herald without taking a battlefield rule slot. So this list is just legal. It just doesn't need the Supreme Command. So I don't even think this is a house rule. I think he just wanted to add Bellicorn to Supreme Command because it like cleans up the readout or something. What is Bellicor? Yeah, skulls and blood for sure. Damned Legion, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate you. Yeah, maybe it is broken or something, so he just put it in put Bellicor separately. Yeah, that would be fine. All right, fair enough. I think we've worked it out. But then also Bellicor being the warlord is also sweet. And Bellicor can override the Greater Demon requirement to be a warlord, too. But Bellicor being the warlord, because his warlord trait is Chapter Master, which normally isn't that amazing, except that he can target the Flamers with it now, and the Flamers getting full hit rerolls is super solid. And then wound rerolls from the Flux Master. 30 Demonettes to run onto people's objectives. Yeah, this list is just solid. Love Skull Takers in a... He's making a comeback these days, right? Good old Skull Taker. I was just looking at his data sheet. 6 attacks, AP3, 3 damage, no invuln saves. My man is a Space Marine killer right here. Full hit and wound rerolls against characters, increases the range of his auras. If he kills one, that literally doesn't matter though, because none of the corn stuff counts. And you can give +1 to hit to bloodletters. Okay. There are no bloodletters. That's weird because bloodletters are the dropping unit. They drop in and then charge. So the fact that he gives +1 to hit in the command phase to bloodletter unit is just worthless. Just doesn't work correctly. It should be a passive buff. +1 to hit for bloodletters passively would actually make Skulltaker amazing. I don't know why I'm like trying to buff Skulltaker, given the fact that he's already clearly good enough to take on his own, because multiple people have been doing it. Seems good. Yeah, chat. Yeah. There's no, like, the buff to Flamers does not remove them from playability. Yeah. Flamers are still great. If you can unlock, the problem with them is Arks of Omen right now, because you don't have Warp Storm abilities unlocked really very much. But if you can unlock the Tzeentch Warp Storm abilities, you can get them to hit on 2s, rerolling 1s. So, like, your expected damage dropped, like, 5%. You just don't Overwatch as well anymore, which is fine, because the unit is 150 points. You can just use them like a missile now. Whether or not they survive the swing back doesn't matter as much. There is still ambiguity over whether you can still have detachments from the core rulebook. No, there's not. That's a bad faith argument. The GT book says that you construct your army out of a single Arks of Omen detachment plus an allied detachment. And then saying that, like, well, they didn't say I couldn't take anything else. It's like, come on. Come on. Permissive rule set. More Dark Angels. We got more Dark Angels to talk about. This list looks familiar. This one's got a Primaris Chaplain. Wise Orator. And just Wise Orator. Okay. Azrael on there with his Warlord trait. Brilliant Strategist, which I believe lets him set someone to Devastator Doctrine every turn, if I remember correctly. That is the Dark Angel specific Warlord trait. Yeah, it reverses them in one doctrine every turn. So you can go to Tactical to get +1 AP on all your plasma weapons and then set someone back to Devastator if you want. Or you can do the other thing where you go to Assault to get everybody +1 AP on their melee weapons and then set somebody back to Tactical, which is probably more useful. Although we do have a bunch of multi-meltas. So it's double 10 Ravenwing Black Knights, 6 attack bike squads. They all get the +1 or the 4+1 vulnerable save from Azrael. So you have the Deathwing Terminator squad. It's already 4+1 vulnerable save because it's a cool Terminator squad. And then you can buff up all the bikes with the character. The problem is that he's a little slow compared to them, but that's fine. 2 Landspeeder Vengeances, a Grav Dev Drop Squad, and 2 Infiltrator Squads. All right, seems good. So I think this must have been doing some more archaeology. Obviously, this one must have been post Inceptor nerf. That's why we don't really see Inceptors. Shuma, I believe in you, buddy. You can lift. Go get it. We got some Grey Knights. 10 Strikes. Nemesis Dread Knight. A Tech Marine. Librarian. So this is very similar to what I just looked at. Yeah, this one has a Purgation Squad with Psy Cannons. I got the free Psy Cannon upgrade on those guys, which is sweet. And a Razorback. There's the Razorback we were talking about. Now, whether or not the Razorback carries the Purgation Squad around or carries the Interceptor Squads is, I guess, an open question. But you can go either way. That's also like a good... You have an outlet for the Tech Marine buff on turn 1 if you need it. So if you're not committing Nemesis Dread Knights or they're hiding, you can still do something with the +1 to hit. I like that. James Grover playing Craftworlds. This is Ulthway with an Avatar of Cain. Oh my god. Coming out of the gate over here. Okay. And Eldrad Ulthran. 2 Rangers. Warlocks. A Warlock with Foul Choose Wing, so the fly and bomb somebody. 1 Striking Scorpion, 1 Howling Banshee, Crushing Blows and Piercing Strikes. What a shocker. 3 Shroud Runners, who I'm surprised have not seen more play, honestly. Shroud Runners are sick. Especially, I guess they like... You sort of took them because AP1 didn't do anything in the Armor of Contempt meta, and now being AP0 didn't feel that much of a change. Kind of insane. But for 30 points a model, like that's another one of those models where you look at it and you're just like, oh my god. Each guy shoots like 6 times. Cold up. And they have a pregame move and they're really hard to kill. Okay. Sure. There's Warp Spiders in this list with Web of Deceit, so they can redeploy. A Wraith Seer, Wraith Knight, and Wave Serpent. Holy crap, they saved the best for last year. There's a Wraith Knight in this list, chat. Oh my god. Hot damn, dude. What? Let me go. We'll go pull up this. I don't think I have seen a single Wraith Knight on the table since the new Eldar Codex came out. Frickin' Wraith Knight, chat. Oh my god. All right, here he is. So here's our boy. He has the Ghost Glaive. So the big melee weapon. And then can be equipped with 2 little weapons. So he's a big melee guy, right? Oh, he has the big Wraith Cannon. So D3 shot strength 16, AP 4, D3 plus 6 damage. And a 6 deals mortal wounds in addition. He only has a 5+ built-in and vulnerable save. Is -1 damage at T8, 22 wounds. Yeah, that's true. They also get the yeah, dude. This is like too many sweet lists for Arks of Omen. Arks of Omen needs to calm down with being the sweet format. Yeah, an Avatar of Cain and Wraith Knight, chat. Yeah, that's true. It gets the sub faction abilities because it's keyworded and now it's in a detachment rather than being an auxiliary. So it gets the 5 up against mortals and the floating wound reroll. You get a wound reroll right for being Ulthway. Which is sweet. That certainly helps, because mortal wounds are the best way to get through these things. Apologies if there was a blip there. I just got a notification that it looked like I had a connection problem, but I think we're back. Yeah, wow, this guy's like sweet. I don't know what to say. This is this is a hype list. So it's a Wraith Seer with Quicken. So we can double move people. What are the restrictions on Quicken? You can't do anything. You can't charge if you double move. So unfortunately, we're not pushing up. We're not like double moving and then charging, but we can just push the big guys up the table. The Wraith Knight does move 12. It's any core Craftworld or character, or core or character, excuse me. So you can do it on the avatar. So you can jump and the Wraith Knight doesn't have fly, unfortunately, right? Yeah. So he has to move around things, but the avatar can double move to just run up the table. Also, I guess not the Wraith here itself, right? Because they're no longer characters. The weird thing about this list is like, they just got a big Wraith Knight in sitting out there. Can you webway strike? I guess you could strategic reserve the Wraith Knight for free, right? Like that, maybe that's the game plan. Because I guess that helps a lot, actually. There's like so many situations where you can hide your whole army against Tau or whatever, because everything's obscurable except the Wraith Knight. Except he just gets to sit off the table for until turn 3. And you can just strike and what's the word? Fire and Fade stuff into like killing random screens early game. So you're just trading Aspect Warriors and Rangers off objectives and then like using the Shroud Runners and stuff to kill all of their little screens until the Wraith Knight comes on. I think that's probably the game plan. That seems pretty solid. Is there a Ghost Walk in this list? There's not. I want this list to have Ghost Walk so bad. Oh, man. No Spirit Seer? That would be cool. It's unfortunate that the Spirit Seer's reroll aura is locked to core units. It's so super weird. It should be... the Seers should give Wraith Knights rerolls, right? Like, it's kind of strange that they don't. I don't know. Anyway, that list is hype as hell. We have a Ravenwing list. Full Dark Angel Ravenwing. Chaplain on a bike. Talon Master Samuel. Look at this. Just immediately Apothecary and 15 Black Knights. Let's go. Or 14, excuse me. 1, 2, 3 units of 2 attack bikes. Or just bikes. 2 Melta guns, a combi Melta, and a multi-Melta. So it's 4 Melta shots per attack bike squad? Jesus. Okay. And then 5 Landspeeder Tornadoes. See, these Landspeeder Tornadoes are sick. Plus a Dark Talon. Oh, we do have a flyer, chat. We found the one. The one guy still with the flyer. Incredible. We've sussed him out. These flyers couldn't stay in strategic reserve forever. Eventually, you had to play one of them. But the... So the... oh, wait. Did I just mess up? No. Dark Talon's the aura thing, right? Shoot. What are these things? Oh, no. Dark Shroud is the aura. Yeah, Dark Talon's a flyer, right? No, I can't find it. Yeah, it is. Okay. Whew. I just almost had a heart attack there, and then I like got excited about something that was totally wrong. The downside of these guys is they don't... Oh, they do hover. Okay. And they're the Rift Cannon shot. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess they do want to come in 9 inches away from you anyway, because they want to shoot the gun for a bunch of mortal wounds and then rapid fire all their bolters at you. So, they do also have a stasis bomb, though. So they do have bomber mechanics, but they don't get to use them. And they're a T6 flyer that comes off the table edge. So I don't know if they survive once they drop in, but maybe it's fine. Oh, it is listed under flyer. You're right. You're not wrong, chat. Oh, there is a Dark Shroud. I think what I did is I literally looked at the Dark Talon, looked away, and looked back at Dark Shroud, and then got confused. I think I saw that there was a Dark Shroud in the list, and then thought that I had misseen that there's an airplane. But yeah, all right, seems good. It's too bad that you can't take Azrael in this list, right? Because everybody would get the 4+ and bone save standing still, which would be sweet. But I don't think you need that. Yeah, not with Jink on everyone. Anyway. Well, yeah, this list is hype. Seems good. We do have another Craftworlds list to talk about, the last one. It's a Hail of Doom. There's 30 Dire Avengers. So here's the Shroud Runners coming out of the woodwork. 2 units of 5 Wind Riders, a unit of 6 with Shuriken Cannons. Ooh, and some Harlequins. A Twilight Falls, Foot in the Future. Chigarax Rose, not Twilight Blade, which is, or Blade of Twilight, whatever it's called. The +1 attack sword. Or Twilight Fang, excuse me. We're doing the 3 damage wound reroll guy. And then 2 troops, a Death Jester with Harvester of Torment, so the exploding attacks. Or the triple attacks, excuse me. They like kind of blast their attack rolls, I guess. Favor of Chigarax, so we get the auto 6 roll. And a Starweaver. Okay. Kind of normal stuff. No Karandras. We're only on Behareth. But this seems pretty normal. I'm not looking forward to everyone going back to having Behareth, because we did go for a little while where everyone was on Ynnari, and not everyone paid the 2 CP to get Behareth and Ynnari, and that was really nice, but now we do have to deal with that. And also probably Karandras lists. So we get 2 Phoenix Lords to fight against, which doesn't feel very exciting and fun. Sad. Good stuff. All right, chat. Well, this has been a solid 2 hours of Arks of Omen lists. I didn't know if there were that many lists to talk about today, but there were just enough, and they were just enough sweet ones. We got a bunch of Grey Knights hanging out. We got some sweet Chaos Demons. We get to do some Chaos Demon sleuthing about what was going on with that list. Tons of Dark Angels. I think Dark Angels are the takeaway here is, like, be prepared for Dark Angels chicanery, because Dark Angels they did at least as well as Iron Hands, right? Iron Hands had a 5-0 and 2 4-1s, and Dark Angels had 1 4-1, 1, you can call that undefeated. It was 2 4-1s and an undefeated, right? Oh yeah, because there's a Raven Wing list. Yeah, 4-1, 4-1. That's basically 4-1 undefeated. Yeah, so they actually did better than Iron Hands, just in terms of raw representation at the top there. Did we talk about this orc list? Hold up. Did we skip this? Oh, no, we did, because it didn't post. Of course. I remember. So much plasma. Yeah, lots of AdMech, too. AdMech are looking pretty solid. I didn't notice any Tyranids, chat. I wonder what's up with that. What happened to Tyranids? Could they have been nerfed repeatedly in drastic ways? Crazy. All right, everybody. Woof, that was awesome. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream now. But, dude, these lists are sick. Arks of Omen's looking really interesting. I think a lot of people are hoping that, like, Arks of Omen is what the list construction rules look like for 10th edition. And now, having seen it in action, I don't know if I disagree. I was a little worried it would get really spammy, and to some extent it does, but it feels like everything is kind of coming across balanced. The problem is, I think it's kind of the death of the troops choice. So, like, regular tactical marines and stuff just don't get taken. But, I mean, I would love to see, like, a 10th edition index come out where you just... like, they just they just give all of those troops options like the glow, like a real big glow up, and they make them actually do damage in interesting ways. And then you just don't even require that like level of list construction structure. Because this Arks of Omen is almost like take whatever you want, which is pretty cool. Yeah, no pure Harlequins. Although, to be fair, there's probably some selection bias there, because there was a lot of really good Harlequin players at LVO, right? So we didn't talk at all about LVO. And, like, all the top Tau players were there. A bunch of the top Chaos Demon players were there. A bunch of the top Harlequin players were there. So I think those factions are probably underrepresented, at least in U.S. events or you know, within these gaming teams that were traveling. I know there were a lot of like European players and a couple Australian players traveling, and so I don't think we necessarily got. Plus, a lot of areas didn't hold GTs this weekend, at least in the U.S. In North America, just because of LVO. LVO is going to steal your players if you hold a GT this weekend, so they just don't do it. So I think there's a lot of people that we haven't seen, you know, crack their knuckles, roll up their sleeves, get stuck into the Arks of Omen format, and really just like start hammering people. Yeah, I mean, people like troops being reinforced, you know, rather than being reinforced by structure, troops being good. I think not only makes for, you know, a more interesting broad selection of units you could take, but also like is just more fun. Like intercessors, regular intercessors and tactical marines are like the face of 40k, and it sucks when like your unit that is the POV unit of the game spends the entire game sitting on an objective 30 inches away from enemies. Like, that just is lame. And somebody's got to do it. But that unit should be scouts. You know? Intercessors, like, should have a cool gun and, like, double tapping and stuff, you know? Or, like, tactical marines, where, like, the tactical squad now is just this, like, hyper-efficient, like, weapon caddy. Which I think is sweet. That's what I wish more tactical squads were like that. Honestly, I kind of wish we got rid of, like, heavy weapon teams. I was a little bit upset about the release of that Desolation Squad. Not necessarily because it doesn't look very good, just whatever. But also, like, I wish that those were just add-ons. Like, those in Hellblasters, you just go into Intercessor Squads for free. And then I think that would give these troops options a really interesting place to be. Instead of taking Devastator Squads, you'd have to take your Multi-Meltas and your Tacticals and your Intercessors. And I think that is, like, that's what we should have. But we don't, so I don't know. Who knows? So I think Arks of Omen will be good for Imperial Knights. I do indeed. I think the format is incredibly strong for Imperial Knights. The danger for Imperial Knights, I think, is that the meta will be maybe toxic to them. But their level of objective secured is better than basically any other faction can bring right now, because no one's bringing mass troops currently. And Imperial, if you don't have mass OBSEC, Imperial Knights run you over. The downside, I think, like, there's going to be situations where they go second against, like, Iron Hands and just get multi-melted off the table. So if you can survive that matchup, I think Imperial Knights are really strong. But always, like, Imperial Knights just have randomly bad matchups all the time. We did talk about the creations of Bile list, chat. Overlord, is this, where are you at? Is this you? This list is sweet. We talked at length about this list. And this cheeky Scarbrand in here. He's hiding. Fabius Bile is like, look at this grotesque biological monstrosity I've made, and it's just a regular Scarbrand. And all the other Space Marines are like, are you sure you made that? And he's like, I did, I swear. And he's like, got two fingers crossed behind his back. And then Scarbrand gives all his Possess +1 attack. And then also late games like a boss. Which I assume is the game plan. Which is a sweet game plan. Fighting on death with +1 attack is actually sweet. Any Ultramarine list? No, unfortunately. If you're playing Space Marines, I think you're on Dark Angels or Iron Hands. We'll see how it goes. All right, chat. Whew. This was a hell of a show. Good episode, everyone. Thanks for coming. It wouldn't be here without you. Congratulations to everyone who won the giveaways, by the way. we announced the giveaway winners at the beginning of the episode. Congratulations to those people. I will be reaching out to you via email and or PM. So there you go. Otherwise, I want to thank you for coming. I want you to come back over the weekend because I'm going to be streaming Captain Con all weekend. So I'm super psyched. I got some new cameras and some new technology for the stream. We'll see if it works okay on the first try. I'm excited to find out whether it does. And also I am I think it's going to be awesome. If you're at Captain Con, come say hi to me. And next week is going to be invitational streaming, so we're also going to be doing commentary from that too. So tons of friggin' streaming coming over the next couple weeks. So, woo, it's going to be good. Do they tend to nerf all Marines for one chapter's sins? Yeah. The design team does not view Space Marines as different chapters for the most part. Like they don't view each chapter independently. They also don't, like, they don't do that for any sub-faction. Basically, if there is one sub-faction that's overpowered, typically they'll nerf the whole faction. Unless, like, there's one interaction they can target. Like, when they hit, like, you know, Highfleet Leviathan or whatever. But if Iron Hands are too strong because multi-meltas are too efficient, they will just hit every single Space Marine chapter's multi-meltas, regardless of who it is. All right. That's going to be it for me today. Goodbye, everyone. I'm going to be live on YouTube. No, this is YouTube. On Twitch tonight. So if you come hang out on Twitch in about probably 3-4 hours, I'm going to be playing some Dark Tide over there. So that'll be fun. We'll just hang out and shoot the shit. It'll be super casual and laid back. So I hope you come hang out with me over there. And otherwise, I'll see you later. Goodbye, everyone. That's I'm about to